Oh, she was under.
ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः. So we are, it looks we are going to do, today happens to be Wednesday, therefore we are doing Bhagavad Gita for 9th chapter, 14th verse. We have to do 9th chapter, 14th verse, and will do 12th and 13th, we'll just revise. There are people who are mogashaha, their desires are mogashaha, their desires are painful, moga karmanaha, their actions are painful, their knowledge is painful, their minds are painful. Rakshasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. They resort to mohini. Mohini means mohayati iti mohini. Mohayati means it dilutes. Anything that makes you indulge in things is what is called mohani. That which causes attachment is what is called mohani. Mohayati, Rakshasim. And they depend upon Rakshasim, Asurim, Chaiva. They are non-violent and cruel also. Rakshasim, Asurim, Chaiva, Prakritim, Mohinim, Shrita. And they resort to indulgence to attachments. But then there are also Mahatmas, Maham Parsa, Daivim, Prakritim, Ashrita. They depend. They have divinity in them. Mahatmas, they have the divinity in them. They are non-violent. They don't think ill of others. Bhajanti amanasaha. Bhajanti Ananya Manasaha. And they always pray to me, Ananya Manasaha, with concentration, Jnatva, Bhutadim Avyayam. Having understood Jnatva, having understood Bhutadim, the origin of all the five elements, which is changeless. The five elements change, the origin doesn't change. And that origin is one's one existence. Sattam Kirtayanto Mam. Sattam means always. Now, 14th verse Ji. What we are supposed to do. Sattam means always. Always means it should not be taken. It should not be taken as continuously. It should be continually, consistently. It should be consistently. Kirtayantaha. Sattam means consistently. Kirtayantaha. Kirtayantaha means they sing my glories. Kirtayantaha. They do kirtan. Consistently they do kirtan of me. Consistently they do kirtan of me. Mam yatantascha dridhavarata. Yatantascha. Yatantaha means present participle. It is. Yatantaha means, and they also make an effort. They make effort, and that effort is only, they strive. What is their striving? Their strive is only Atma Anatma Viveka. Vivek Karna. To discern is the only effort. Discerning is the only effort. Yatantascha dridhavrutaha. And they have strong resolve. What is their resolve? That we must do discerning. And that is the strongest resolve they have. They don't have too many resolves. They have one resolve. I must die. Before death, I must know myself. And that is I must discern between myself, my existence, and the body. Yatantascha dridhavrutaha. Namasyantascha. And they always salute me. Namasyantascha. And they always salute me. The salute me means they remember me with devotion. Salute me does not mean just salute. Remember me with devotion. Remember me with devotion. Feel me with devotion. Remember me with devotion. Nitya Yukta Upasata. Nitya Yuktaha. Nitya Yuktaha means ever proper. Upasate. Upasana karte hain. Upasate means upasana is different from jnanam. Discerning is different from upasana. Upasana is something that is subjective. Jnanam is something that is objective. Upasana is something, they do upasana of Brahman. Upasana means just as when you go to Gaji, only as a Hindu you feel devoted to it. But as a Muslim you are not devoted to it. That is what is called subjectivity. Subjectivity means it depends upon your will. If you think so, it is so. If you don't think so, it is not so. It depends totally upon your mind. Sattam, always kirtayantaha, always singing my praise. Mam, mujko, yatantascha dridhavrata. Yatantascha, they make effort. They make effort only in the form of discerning between Atma and Anatma. And dridhavrataha means with a strong resolve. What is the resolve? That I must discern between Atma and Anatma. That is the strongest resolve they have. They don't have any other resolves. There is no use of having other resolves, Ji. There is only one resolve is enough. I must live to know myself. That is the only strongest resolve they have. Namasyantascha. And they remember me with devotion. Mam bhaktya. Bhaktya means with devotion. Nityoktaha, ever proper. Propriety is always in the form of non-violence, Ji. If you don't hurt anybody, you are nitya yukta. It's in thought, word, and deed. If you don't hurt others, that is being nitya yukta. Non-violence is nitya yuktatvam. Nitya yukta means always proper. Always proper. Nitya yukta means always proper. Yukta means without really being associated with the Lord, you cannot be yukta. Without being associated with a prayer to the Lord or the kirtanam or bhajan, or without remembering the Lord, without being prayerful to God, you cannot be a non-violent Ji. And then everything has to be connected to Brahma Vidya. And that connection is what is going to make you yuktaha, a proper, a non-violent person. Non-violence is what makes you proper Ji. Jnana yajnana chapyanya. So this verse is over, 14th verse is over, जो उपासते उपासना करते हैं. That means even to think of the Lord, even to remember the Lord, He is great Ji. Karma yoga. With remembering subjectively God, and then prayerfully you do your duties. That is also karma yoga Ji. Karma yoga is need not be done. You have to know the truth. You can remember, you can pray to God and know and then do your duties prayerfully. That is also karma yoga. You don't have to know the truth. You can know, you can be prayerful to the truth. Knowing is towards the end of life, I must end my life with the knowledge of myself, and that is what is important, and that is yuktatvam. And some people worship me through jnana yajnana. Jnana yajnana chapi anya. Anya means others worship me through jnanam. Jnana yajnana. Jnana yajna means by understanding the truth. Understanding the truth is different from belief. Subjectivity is different from your existence is not is a matter of belief. Your existence, you don't believe in your existence. You know that your existence, and therefore you know that I am existent, and therefore that is knowledge, self-evidence. Your existence is self-evidence, Ji. You don't exist. You don't see yourself through your eyes. You don't hear yourself through your ears. You don't taste yourself through your tongue. You don't touch yourself also. You don't smell yourself also. In this manner, you are not a sense object, and still you are very much there. You know that you are very much there, and therefore it is self-evident. Therefore, your existence is self-evident, and that self-evidence is not something that is a matter of belief. It is a matter of understanding, and therefore you don't have to experience it. It is already within experience, and that what is experienced has to be recognized as that it is already within experience. I don't have to experience. If you have to experience, then it is wrong. You don't have to experience. It is already within your experience. What is within your experience has to be recognized that it is within our experience. The self is very much self-evident. That is why it is called self-evident, because it is evident like self. That is why it's called self-evident. If self is not self-evident, then what else can be self-evident? See? There is nothing that is self-evident. Only the self is self-evident. Only what is existence. Everything else is pramana. It is evident through pramanas. Sense evident. Sense evidence is different from self-evidence. Sense evidence, the universe is sense-evident, whereas your existence is self-evident, and therefore, what is self-evident? It is within our experience to be self-evident, and what is within your experience, you don't have to experience second time. You have to recognize that it is already within experience. You have to recognize that it is already within experience, and that self-evidence. That is called understanding the self-evident as self-evident is called jnana yajnam. Jnana yajnana chapi anya. Anya means there are other people. In this world there are so many people, but then among those people there are some people who worship me through understanding me. That is also a kind of worshipping. That is also a kind of worshipping. Even understanding me is a kind of a worshipping me, is a kind of worship of me. Jnana yajnana chapyanya yajantaha, worshipping me, माम उपासते, माम मुझको उपासना करते हैं. They worship me. Upasate means they worship me. They pray to me. They pray to me by understanding me. They pray to me by understanding me. And therefore, don't say that Jnanis are not Bhaktas. Jnanis are also Bhaktas. Bhaktas are Bhaktas. Jnanis are also Bhaktas. Jnanis also, they pray to God by understanding. Even though prayer is a means to Jnanam, Bhakti is a means to Jnanam. Jnanam also is a kind of a prayer. Ekatvena, as one, as Advitiyam. Ekatvena means they worship me in the form of Ekam, means as Advitiyam. Prithaktvena, as something different from me, different from themselves. Prithaktvena, as different, as many jivas. Bahudha, as many. Vishwatamukham, and it is also as many as the universe. It is worshipped. I am worshipped as the one. I am worshipped as the two. I am worshipped as many. I am worshipped as the universal. I am also worshipped as the jiva. The human being is none other than Parameshwara in the form of human being. And if all the human beings are taken, it is the Parameshwara that is in the form of all the pranis. Just as the water is in the form of the waves, in the same manner, the one truth, one Bhagavan is in the form of all the jivas, in the form of all the pranis, in the form of all the pranis. It is there. Ekatvena prutatvena bahuda vishwatomukham means universal. As a universe also is existent only by presupposing the presence of Parameshwara. Presupposing the presence of Parameshwara is the universe. The universe doesn't presuppose the will of Parameshwara, it is his presence. This is very important point, Ji. Don't think of the will in Ishvara. Think of his presence. His presence is just as the waves exist, presupposing the presence of the water, not the presence of the will of the water, presence of water. In the same manner, all the jivas, all the embodied individuals exist, all the pranis exist, presupposing the presence of Parameshwara, presupposing not the will of the Parameshwara, presupposing the presence of Parameshwara. And your existence also is a presence. Even though in the waking state you have the will, in the dream state you have the will, in the deep sleep state the will dissolves. That will is not there in the deep sleep state. And therefore you are also presupposing that presence of yours is the waking state, is the dream state. The waking state is there presupposing your presence. The dream state is there presupposing your presence. And therefore without not presupposing your will, because you are free from the will, please. Consciousness that doesn't have the consciousness is not qualified by its any will. Consciousness, aham is not qualified by any will. Aham is something that is free from the will. Jnana yajnana chapyanye yajento mam upasate. Ekatvena prithaktvena. Ekatvena means as one. Prithaktvena as many. Bahuda. Bahuda means as many. Vishwatamukham means as present everywhere, all over the universe. Just as the jivas are there all over the universe, in the same manner, the universe, the Bhagavan is also there in the form of all the jivas all over the universe. And in the form of the jiva has to be looked at as Parameshwara ji. There is no other way of looking at Parameshwara. The jiva has to be looked at as Parameshwara. You have to understand the jivas to be nothing but Parameshwara. Similarly, you have to understand yourself also as a jiva, nothing but Parameshwara. And therefore, understanding Parameshwara means understanding the jiva as Parameshwara. Understanding means understanding water means understanding the wave to be water. That is what is called understanding water. Understanding water as water means understanding the wave as water. Because the wave as a wave is a problem. And therefore, the wave has to be understood as a water. Similarly, the embodied as embodied is a problem. The embodied has to be understood as unembodied. Just as in the deep sleep state, there is no embodiment. You don't miss the body, you don't feel the body, you don't miss the body. In the same manner, you don't feel the children, you don't miss the children, you don't feel the house, you don't miss the house. And that is a free state, where you don't miss anything, where you don't feel anything. That is exactly your freedom, please. And that is your freedom. And therefore, you don't feel anything, you don't miss anything. You don't miss any children there, you don't feel anything. That is your freedom. That is the freedom of the self. That is the non-dual self. Ekatvena, Prithaktvena. And some people say, we have Shankaracharya, Ekatvam, Madhva, Ramanujacharya spoke about the two, that Dvaitam, and Madhvacharya spoke universally. In this manner, we say, they never spoke. It was already there. Krishna had already said, Ekatvena, Prithaktvena, Bahuda, Vishwatomukam iti. He has already said. The Advaitam has already been said by some people think of the truth as Advaitam, some people think of it as something different from them, and something it is Prithaktvena, Bahuda, as many, and as many jivas as universal, and as Bahuda, and also Vishwatamukam. In this manner, Bhagavad Gita has already mentioned. It is not their theory. Neither the Advaitam is Shankaracharya's, nor Advaitam is Ramanujacharya's, nor plurality Vishwatamukham is Madhvacharya's. Everything is already said in the beginning, in the Shastra. Advaitam is mentioned in the Shastra, Dvaitam is mentioned in the Shastra, and also Vishwatamukham, also Bahudatma is also mentioned in the Shastra, and Vishwatamukhatvam also is mentioned in the Shastram. And therefore, one doesn't have to say they indulged in their own theory, subjective theories. All that we don't have to say. Everything boils down to Shastram. Whatever human beings talk about, it all boils down to Shastram. And Shastram says, and that you repeat, keep repeating. Whatever is said by the Shastram, you say that. And that doesn't mean really that it is your subjective thought. It is not your subjective thought. Everything can be traced to the Shastram. Everything is taken from the Shastram, and the Shastram, and therefore whatever is said by others is not their subjective thought. This is very important. Ji. Aham kraturuha, aham yajna. I am the kratuhu. Kratuhu means an action. I am the ritual. Kratuhu means a ritual, please. It is said, kratuhu is not something. Anuranayan mahato mahiyan atma jantor nihito guha tamakratu akratuhu. A person who is not interested in the rituals can understand the truth. A person who is interested in the rituals, his interest will be divided between the rituals and the understanding. And therefore, the interest should not be divided. The interest should be single. It should be interested. The interest should be only in understanding. The interest cannot be divided between the ritual and the jnanam. And therefore, tamakratu akratu pashyati vitashokaha dhatu prasadan mahimanam atmana. It is said in Kathopanishad that a person who is not interested in the rituals can understand the truth. If a person is interested in the rituals, then he has got a divided interest. He is interested in the rituals, and he is told to be interested in jnanam also, and that person becomes less interested in jnanam and more interested in the rituals, and therefore he cannot ever understand. If a person is not interested in the rituals, then he has got undivided interest. When he has got undivided interest in understanding, then he can understand, because then alone mind can be peaceful. When you are interested in actions, in desires, etc., then your mind is disturbed. When the mind is not peaceful, and if the mind is peaceful, then you can reflect upon the truth. And therefore, it is said here, Aham Kratu. And therefore, when the ritual is none other than Parameshwara, you don't have to be interested in the ritual. That ritual is none other than Parameshwara. Be interested in Parameshwara. Don't be interested in the rituals. Be interested in Parameshwara. And that is why Aham Kratuhu, Aham Yajnaha, and I am also Yajna. Yajna means a big ritual. Yajna like Rajsu Yajna, etc. Big yajnas. I'm the daily ritual. I'm also Rajsu Yajna, etc. Rajsu Yaga, yajna. All this ijjate anena iti yajna. Yajna means a kind of worship. Ijjate anena iti yajna. Ijjate means what is worship? When we worship God through a Vedic ritual, then it is called yajna. Through a Vedic ritual, you worship God, then it is called yajna. But then if you are interested in the rituals alone, in performing the rituals, then you will not be interested in understanding Bhagavan. And therefore, understanding Bhagavan is very important. In order to understand Bhagavan, you should have the undivided interest in understanding. And therefore, it is said here, Aham kratuha aham yajna. Swadha. Swadha means, swaha, when you say swaha, swadha, swadha. So you can also swadha, vaushat, swaha, swadha, vaushat, all these things are said. Vaushat also is used. When you leave something into the fire, that is called swaha. Swaha means let it be burnt and let it reach the devatas. Swaha means let it reach the devatas, and that is the meaning of it. Aham kratuha, aham yajna, swadaham, aham aushadam, and I am also the medicine. You don't have to be interested in the medicine. Medicine also is nothing but Parameshwara. And therefore, you can be interested in the medicine. If you are sick, you can be interested in the medicine. But then let not that interest be too much. May you have undivided interest in only knowing the Lord. Aushadham, Aushadham. Mantraha. And similarly, like mantra, Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, Tat Savitur Varenyam, Vargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yona Prachodayat, Om Triyambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarakam Vandanan Mrityo Shiyamamritat. In this manner, the mantras hote hain, those mantras are all myself. Don't be interested in mantras. You don't take any mantra from anybody, please. That's all not necessary. Because interest should have the undivided interest in knowing the truth. For knowing the truth, you don't require any mantra. If you take any mantra from any guru, then you say you have made your guru. Then you will stop listening to others. And therefore, it is always better to listen to the teacher. A Swami is meant for sunane ke liye hota hai. Because you are supposed to listen. Atma vare drashtavya. Atma, you have to understand yourself. Then alone. Then for that, what should I do? श्रोतव्य मंतव्य निधिध्यास्तव्य श्रवण करना चाहिए, मनन करना चाहिए, निधिध्यासन करना चाहिए. For that, I have to be interested in knowing the truth, and therefore I don't have to take any mantra from any guru. I have to listen to the Vedanta. Vedanta is very important, more important than mantra, please. Taking mantra from a guru is not important. I don't think you should be interested in knowing yourself, and that is what is more important. And therefore, have undivided interest in knowing the truth about yourself. Truth means not truth about yourself is what is called the truth. Truth does not mean truth. There is an object called the truth. No. The truth about being, the truth about the breathing being, the truth about the seeing being, the hearing being, the truth about the pleasant being, the unpleasant being, the truth about yourself is what is called the truth. What is the actuality about yourself? That is what is to be understood. And therefore here it is said, Mantroham ahameva anyam, ahameva ajyam. And what is offered, the ghee also is myself. You don't be interested in ghee. In any case, ghee is not good. It causes cholesterol. Therefore, don't have any interest in ghee, please. Ajyam. Ajyam, when you offer unto the fire, that is called ajyam. What is offered unto the fire? What is offered unto the fire in order to keep the fire burning is what is called ajyam. That ajyam also is myself, Bhagavan says. Therefore, there is nothing other than Bhagavan. Therefore, you should be interested in knowing the Bhagavan. You should be interested in Bhagavan, not interested in the objects. Objects are also Bhagavan only. If everything boils down to Bhagavan, then I should be interested in Bhagavan only. If everything boils down to Bhagavan, then I should be interested in Bhagavan. If all waves boil down to being water, then I should be interested in knowing water. Water is the main thing. I should know the waves to be water. I should know myself to be the Bhagavan. I should know every jiva to be Bhagavan. I should know everything is conscious being. Every conscious being is Bhagavan only. Consciousness by nature is unlimited. As free from the body, it is unlimited, because the body is the only thing that makes you live as the size, and therefore you feel that you have the size. But then body have, when you transcend the body between I am the body is a contradictory thought, and therefore it is a contradictory view. I am the Deha is a contradictory view. Aham is not a Deha. Aham is indeed an objectifiable being, conscious being, and Deha is a physical thing, and therefore both being identified is a contradictory situation. And therefore that contradiction, as long as it is uncorrected, so long one suffers. One is struggling, and therefore one suffers, one struggles. And if he is free from that equation, then he is free from samsara, then struggle also. And therefore jnana yajnana chapyanya yajanto mam upasute ekatvena pratyaksham bhavada vishnu. This is over. Aham kratu aham yajnah swadaham aham aushadam mantroham ahameva ajyam. I am indeed the ghee, I am indeed the mantra. Everything boils down to Bhagavan, and therefore Bhagavan should be the topic of interest. The topic of interest should be only Bhagavan. Because everything boils down to Bhagavan. It's not that one Bhagavan. What is there is only Bhagavan, nothing else. Bhagavan alone is there. Ekam vastu Vishwa Bahu Buddha ekam Prajan, ekam ekamiti ekam Bahuda vadanti. It is only one. Bahuda vadanti. Buddha Bahuda vadanti. Ekam Bahuda vadanti. It is only one. You call him Shiva, you call him Brahma, you call him Vishnu, you call him Shiva, depending upon Ganesha. As the Lord, as the water of the obstacles, is called Ganesha. The God as the mother is called the Devi. The God as the source is called Brahma. God as the support is called the Vishnu. God as the resolving point is called the Shiva. In this manner, we have so many same Devatas does not mean the other than Parameshwaraji. Parameshwara in the form of Devatas is called Devatas. Just as Parameshwara in the form of human beings is human beings, are human beings. There is no difference between a Parameshwara and a human being. Parameshwara is Parameshwara, every living being boils down to being Paramatma, Parameshwara only. And therefore here it is said, Aham mantro ahameva. Therefore you don't have to be interested in mantra. Be interested in listening to Vedanta. And that is what is more importantly. Aham mantro ahameva ajyam. And even the ghee is Parameshwara, ajyam. Agnihi, even the fire unto which it is offered, that fire also is me, Bhagavan says. When the fire is also himself, then why should you be interested in fire? You should be interested only in Parameshwara. Because everything boils down to being Parameshwara. If everything is Parameshwara, then your interest should be only in Parameshwara. Aham Agnihi, Aham Hutam. And what is offered also, when you say Vaushat Swaha, what is offered also Hutam. Hutam means what is offered. What is offered also, supposing you offer some money, and that is also me only. Everything boils down to Bhagavan. When everything boils down to Bhagavan, then Yatova Imani Bhutani Jayante, the source of the entire universe, the source of the support of the entire universe, the resolving point of the entire universe is indeed Parameshwara. And that Parameshwara is indeed universally present. That Parameshwara you may call by any name, it doesn't matter, Ji. Names don't qualify the Parameshwara. Names and forms don't qualify Parameshwara. If you say that you worship only the formless, don't worship in the forms, I would say, what is the explanation for forms, please? What is the forms cannot be parallel to the formless. The forms cannot be parallel to the formless. Like the air and fire and water, earth, they are not parallel to the space. They are within the space. Similarly, the forms are also within the formless. And therefore, the sound is within the silence. In the same manner, the forms are within the formless. And therefore, when you can worship Bhagavan in the forms also. But what you worship is the formless, through which the means through which you worship the formless is the form. And therefore, the form is not, form is a kind of a help. It's a helping aid. And therefore, the form helps you to worship the formless. Form is not form is not worship. Form is a means to worship the formless. And therefore, the forms are, in every form there is a formless. In every atom there is a formless. Just as the space reflects in all the waves, the complete space reflects in all the waves, in all the bubbles also. In the same manner, in all the bodies, what is there is only one formless, the truth. And that formless truth is worshipped in all the forms. As Ganesha, in every form you worship the formless only. That is why we say Anantaya Namaha, Anandaya Namaha. My worship, my prayers to Ananta, the infinite. The infinite cannot, there cannot be anything parallel to the infinite, please. The infinite cannot be this, there cannot be any something parallel to the infinite. The infinite is yourself. The infinite is Parameshwara. And therefore, consciousness by nature is infinite. Consciousness by nature is infinite. And therefore, that consciousness has to be understood as one's own consciousness. And therefore, here it is said, Jnana Yajnana Chapyanye, and it is said, Aham Kratur Aham Yajnaha, Swadaham Aham Avashradam, Mantroham Ahame Vajyam, Aham Agnihi Aham Utam. And I am the Agnihi, I am the fire unto which you offer, and Aham Hutam. What is offered also is myself. What is offered, you may offer anything. You may offer anything, and that is myself. You may offer your existence. You may say that Parameshwara is myself. That is called Jnana, understanding. That in understanding you offer the avidya. Avidya is offered unto the fire. When avidya is offered, in ignorance is offered, that ignorance also boils down to the truth only. Because what illumines everything is the truth. And that illumined boils down to the illuminer. Because the creation boils down to the source. And therefore it is that is why it is said, and that is why it is said here, Aham Kratuhu Aham Yajnaha, Sadaham Aham Aushadam, Mantroham Ahame Vajyam. Therefore, you don't have to have any mantra diksha, please. You have to listen to Vedanta. Mantra diksha creates superstitions. Don't fall for any superstitions. Don't fall for your superstitions. Don't fall for any superstitions. And they don't have any superstitions. And therefore, the superstitions are not good. Ji. You have to study Vedanta and understand and then understand yourself. You should be the topic of your thinking. You should be the topic of your thinking. And when you think of yourself, you understand yourself. And in understanding yourself, there is everything, you see. The whole problem is solved in understanding yourself. And that what is the understanding about oneself? The truth about the actuality about yourself. Are you the form or are you not the form? If you are the body, then you have to suffer. You are free from the body, then you don't have to suffer. Because every dukkham comes only through the body. And therefore here it is said, Aham kratu aham yajnaha sudaham aham aushadam mantro aham ahame vajyam aham agnihi aham hutam. I am therefore mantra diksha is not important. Not important, we say. But then what is not important? Mantra is not important. Mantra diksha is not important. Vedanta is important. Vedanta is important. Listening to Vedanta is important. Pitahamasya jagataha. And then the next verse Bhagavan says, I am the father of, I am the father means the source. I am the source of the entire universe. I am the source of the entire universe. Pitahamasya jagataha. Asya jagataha means is jagat ka. Pitahu. Pitahu means I am the father of a means I am the source of the entire Jagat. I am the source of the entire Jagat. Mata Dhata. And the same Parameshwara is the mother also. Is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. He is a conscious being as Nimitta Karanam. He is a conscious being as Upadana Karanam. He is the source. He is a conscious. He is he is a conscious source. He is a consciousness, and he is the source also. Dhata, and I am the supporter. Pitamaha, I am the supporter also. I am the source, I am the support. Dhata, I am the supporter also. Dhata. Pitamaha, and I am also Pitamaha, and don't think that I have also another source. Who is the source of Bhagavan? Don't ask a question. He is the source of the universe, cannot have another source. The physical source can always have if it is physical, then you can have another source, another source, another source. The source can have another source, but the non-physical cannot have another source. The non-physical cannot have another source. This is what you have to understand. The non-physical cannot have another source, please. The physical can have a source. The non-physical cannot have a source. And the Parameshwara is a non-physical, and therefore he is indeed पिताहमस्य जगतः माता धाता पितामहः वेद्यम. What is to be understood is myself. Pavitram Omkaraha Riksama Yajurevacha. This we will see in the next class. Ji. Thank you very much. This verse we will see in the next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Ji.